Here's your wrestling news for October 1st, 2020. And your headlines for today include why Kyle O'Reilly received WWE NXT title shot at TakeOver 31. Long-awaited superstar to debut during draft next month. Unfortunately, Jeff Hardy hits another snag in ongoing DUI case. Breaking news regarding John Cena's wrestling career in WWE. John Cena opens up. AEW to have animation and comic book ventures with WarnerMedia. Why Ryback is planning to sue Dallas Cowboys' Ezekiel Elliott. New video offers more clues for NXT's returning talent. Vince McMahon didn't remember firing WWE superstar before hiring him for the third time. Edge shares yet another unfortunate news about his injury, and more. We are kicking off today with news from NXT, and though the Undisputed Era once dominated the black and gold brand, it looks like their tenure is coming to an end. According to PW Insider, Kyle O'Reilly is slated to be a full-fledged babyface from this point on, and he's not the only member to change, as Adam Cole hinted at a face turn this week with his win over Austin Theory. It was noted that the remaining members won't follow this new path though, as at this time, Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong aren't slated to turn babyface as well. This Sunday, O'Reilly will have the biggest match of his career when he challenges NXT champion Finn Balor for the title at TakeOver 31. And with him and Cole seemingly going in a different direction from their Undisputed Era brothers, it may just be a matter of days before the WWE Universe sees this stable implode. Speaking of NXT, we're focusing on next week's main roster draft, as the WWE is preparing to shake the rosters up again, which could finally see a long overdue call-up from the black and gold brand. Ringside News is reporting that Chelsea Green is being considered for the draft, and if this happens, it'll mark the third time she's been called up. The first time saw Green called up in late December 2019 as part of Paul Heyman's vision for Raw, before being sent back down to NXT to work with Robert Stone. And she was later called up once again, but didn't make it to TV. It was also noted, however, that the WWE is in early stages of deciding its draft picks, and that nothing's set in stone just yet. For now, Green is back in the black and gold brand, but given that the company recently trademarked her name alongside main roster superstar Dominic Mysterio, it may be third time's a charm for the Canadian superstar next week. One person fans could see on Raw this week is Bianca Belair, and though she was the focus of her fastest vignette, it wasn't the only person fans were watching. During the segment, fans noticed Sugar Dunkerton, aka AEW's Pineapple Pete, a name that he received thanks to Chris Jericho's knack for monikers. Dunkerton has started working as an extra for WWE, and after previously being a background member of Raw Underground, had a larger role this week. Pineapple Pete was seen in Belair's fastest vignette, and he got a spot next to the EST of WWE as she smoked the competition. Though cameras didn't stay on him for long, fans quickly spotted the former AEW star, and whilst the segment was all about Belair, Pineapple Pete made a fine supporting cast member. Over to SmackDown now, and 2020 has been a huge year for Jeff Hardy as he returned to capture his 5th Intercontinental Championship, but his past actions continue to linger with him. After being arrested for DUI last October, Jeff was scheduled to be in court today, but due to the ongoing global situation, his court date, much like all court cases, has been pushed back once again. Hardy's new court date is October 22nd, and this is an issue Jeff certainly wants to get taken care of, as his driver's permit was revoked and will remain revoked until he resolves the case. It's worth noting that Jeff went to inpatient rehab for the first time following his arrest, and after a storyline when he faced those demons head-on in the form of Sheamus, it now seems like the charismatic Enigma will be waiting even longer until he can move on with his life. From one former world champion to another now, as John Cena's career in Hollywood is constantly growing, as he'll be a part of Fast and Furious 9, the new Suicide Squad 2, and HBO Max's prequel spin-off series about his character Peacemaker. This week, though, Cena took time out of a busy schedule to be Jimmy Fallon's first real-life guest in a long time, and when asked about his wrestling career, he made it clear that he's not finished. He said, "I have a very young audience in WWE, a lot of kids and families. As my in-ring career with WWE is not as active, although not over, I wanted to continue to send messaging to those younger viewers." The last time we saw Cena, he was losing to Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania's Firefly Funhouse match, which was a cinematic match without many real bumps, and though his acting schedule is busy to say the least, fans can expect the 16-time world champion to return to the ring down the line. AEW news next, and despite the ongoing global situation, the company has continued producing content, which has made WarnerMedia very happy with their performance on TNT. Now it looks like AEW may have new projects coming, as Sammy Linsky, Senior Vice President and co-head of scripted originals for TBS, TNT, and True TV, told Variety that AEW's position with WarnerMedia is great, and added, "We have an opportunity to use all facets of WarnerMedia in a way that most places can't. We've got a comic book company, we've got video game companies, we've got merchandising people, we've got people who make animation for television, we've got reality television producers. It's all in-house. So we have a real opportunity to spread this IP and grow it across WarnerMedia." Both DC Comics and Cartoon Network fall under the WarnerMedia umbrella, so it's possible that an AEW comic or animated series could be coming. AEW's intellectual property is already a commodity, as the company's action figures sell out almost immediately after they're put on shelves, and Hot Topic is selling AEW merch. We'll have to see what's next for AEW's IP, but the future certainly seems bright with WarnerMedia. Ryback news next, and though his legal issues are well known, the big guy is now taking aim at someone else. During Ryback TV, he spoke about Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys and wasn't happy about the running back's "Feed Me" catchphrase, which Ryback feels is too similar to "Feed Me More." He said, "You're literally trying to latch onto somebody else's brand and then take it and make it your own in the exact same thing. It's like, come on, be a little more creative. He's a wrestling fan, he got it from me, he 100% got it from me. I've already established it and own it." The former Intercontinental Champion added that he thinks that there's zero chance that Elliott will get to keep the tattoo, but added, "If they have an attorney that's able to pull strings, then I've simply got to oppose it. I'll tie him up for years, so he better get a good tattoo artist to cover up that shitty tattoo on his stomach." Whilst Elliott does have a "Feed Me" tattoo on his stomach, we're not sure if this is quite the plagiarism that Ryback believes it is. And we'll have to see what comes next in this story, and from Ryback's seemingly never-ending list of appointments to see his attorney. Back to the ring now, and this week's episode of The Gold Brand saw another teaser of the mystery superstar who will be returning at this Sunday's TakeOver. One huge clue in the video was a motorcycle, implying that they're traveling from the Thunderdome of the main roster to Full Sail, which would make Bo Dallas, a prominent theory, unlikely, as he hasn't been in the Thunderdome at all lately. And we doubt WWE are keeping unused people backstage in catering, especially at a time when people are being encouraged not to travel unless necessary. It's always possible that the motorcycle is more metaphorical, signaling the road back to NXT, or it could even be a red herring, and given the fact that there's a male and female voice, it could also be a former NXT women's talent too. With many former NXT women's champions like Bayley, Sasha Banks, Asuka, and Shayna Baszler all busy on the main roster, and Charlotte Flair out of action, the only logical choice is Ember Moon, though her Achilles injury, which she said could be career-ending, doesn't help this theory, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a former women's champion. Whatever the case, we'll find out soon enough who the mystery superstar is, and we're sure they'll make a big presence this Sunday at NXT TakeOver 31. One person who knows all about returning to WWE is Jimmy Wang Yang, though he also knows firsthand that returning is often more complicated when Vince McMahon is involved. While speaking on Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore podcast, Yang spoke about how he previously wrestled for WWE from 2001 to 2002, and later from 2003 to 2005 as Akio, but had been released, and after being brought back for a few matches, was officially rehired by the company in 2006. Yang vividly recalled meeting with McMahon and thanking him for hiring him for the third time, only for McMahon to say that he didn't even know that Yang had been fired, saying he had a lot on his schedule at the time. This meeting between the two was also the first time the Asian redneck character was pitched to Jimmy Wang Yang, as Vince decided to play into Yang's southern accent, and though the former WCW star didn't seem too thrilled, he was fine with it as long as that check came in. Though he may not have been thrilled with the character at first, Yang's third time in WWE gave him the gimmick fans remember him best by, And with a 2016 Where Are They Now video showing that Yang now operated a redneck party bus business, the former WWE superstar seems to be doing well for himself as the Asian cowboy, even out of the ring. Speaking of returns, Edge shocked the world by returning at this year's Royal Rumble, though a torn tricep injury at Backlash derailed all plans for the Rated R superstar. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, the Hall of Famer spoke about his recovery process, saying, "I know it's a lot slower than I thought it was going to be. I don't know if it's the injury itself or if I'm a little older. I don't know what it is, but it's not as fast as I would have liked." Immediately after Edge's injury happened during the greatest wrestling match ever, the Ultimate Opportunist requested a last man standing match against Randy Orton. And if he gets that match, it'll be as part of Edge's 9 remaining matches on his current contract with the company. Despite rumored plans for Edge to be back in time for the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, as well as a rumored WWE Championship reign, that all counts on the Hall of Famer being recovered in time. And after this injury happened mere months after he came out of a 9-year retirement, which was caused because of a severe neck injury, we expect WWE to be extra cautious with the health of the Rated R superstar. And we're ending today with news from Impact Wrestling, and a huge challenge has been laid out for the company's flagship show, Bound for Glory. On this week's show, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows made the challenge to Impact World Tag Team Champions the Motor City Machine Guns, and after the Good Brothers defeated the Rascals later on in the night, the challenge was put out again. It wasn't too long after that the match was made official, though it won't just be the Good Brothers challenging, as the North and the team of Madman Fulton and Ace Austin will also be involved, making it a fatal 4-way tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships. Though the fatal 4-way stipulation isn't what they were hoping for, this match will mark Gallows and Anderson's first shot at the Impact Tag titles since joining the company, and it's clear that the former club is doing far better now than they were in WWE earlier this year.